Good afternoon. It is now 5 p.m. and we will begin our Committee of Adjustment meeting. We will be dealing with each application in the order of the agenda. This is a virtual public meeting and we ask for everyone's patience. I would also like to note that this is a statutory public meeting. The committee will make their decision following each application. Anyone interested in the decision must notify the Secretary Treasurer, Sherry Mott. Please list the file number and your full name and mailing address. The decisions are final if there are no appeals 20 days after the committee's decision. Anyone wishing to speak regarding an application will be given an opportunity to do so. I will ask that any member of the public that wishes to speak to please state your name for the record. Also, please state the application number and/or property address that you are commenting on. I will let you know when it's time for you to unmute and speak. And to unmute or mute, you use star 67. I would also like to remind everyone to remain muted unless you are speaking. Planning staff will be presenting reports and will be present to answer any questions of the committee or members of the public. Okay, I'm going to first do a roll call to make sure the committee's all here. Adam?
Here.
Thank you. I see Alan's here. Marcel?
Yes.
Rudy?
Here.
Okay. The first order of business is to determine if any of the committee members have any disclosures of interest when considering any of the applications we will be dealing with today. Are there any? Okay, I hear none. All committee members should have received and read the minutes of the September 16th meeting. Are there any errors or omissions? And if not, I have a resolution to approve the minutes. Any errors or omissions? Okay. Can I have someone move the resolution to approve the minutes?
Rudy moves.
Okay, I got Rudy.
Alan seconds.
And Alan seconds. All in favor? Adam?
Yes.
Alan?
Yep.
Marcel?
Yes.
And Rudy?
Yes.
Okay, those minutes are approved. Okay, the first application that we are dealing with is a minor variance. File number is ANPL 2020-160, and the applicant is Van Meer Farms, Inc. And I'll ask planning staff to give the report.
Through you, Madam Chair, that was ANPL 2020-160 or 158?
On the
160?
agenda, it's 160
Thank you.
first.
Yes, so this application has come in. They're proposing to address a deficiency created by the consent application BNPL 2020-146 for a proposed surplus farm severance. The subject application is requesting relief from policy 12.1.2B to permit a lot frontage of 13.8 meters, whereas 30 is required. The application has been requested to be deferred by the applicant because the application does not acknowledge the rear yard deficiency of 2.4 meters, whereas section 12.1.2F requires a minimum rear yard setback of 9 meters.
Okay, does the committee have any questions for planning staff? Okay, no questions. Is there any member of the public that wishes to speak regarding this application? Please unmute now. Okay. I have a recommendation from staff that this application be deferred. Could I have someone move that recommendation? Okay, I've got Alan. And a seconder.
Marcel seconds it.
Marcel, seconder. Thank you. Okay, all in favor of deferral? Adam?
Yes.
Alan?
Yep.
Marcel,
Yes.
and Rudy.
Yes.
Okay, that application has been deferred. The next application is for a minor variance. Oh, sorry, Sherry. The application is ANPL 2020-158, and the applicant is Van Meer Farms, Inc. And I'll ask staff to give the report.
Thank you. Through the chair, an application has been received proposing to address a deficiency created by consent application BNPL 2020-146, which was approved in previous committee meeting for the proposed surplus farm dwelling severance. The subject application is requesting relief from policy 12.1.2B to permit a lot frontage of 13.8 meters, whereas 30 is required. The subject lands front onto the south side of Middleton, North Welsingham Town Line Road in the geographical township of Middleton. The lands contain a single detached dwelling, an accessory garage, shop, and greenhouse, all of which are to be retained. During the site inspection, it was noted by staff that the greenhouse is no longer present. The lands are primarily agriculture, or the surrounding area is primarily agriculture, and the surrounding area is farmlands. Comments have been consolidated in the staff report, which the applicant, members of the committee, and members of the public have access to. No comments of concerns were received. Under section 45(1) of the Planning Act, there are 4 tests to a minor variance. In order to be considered, the application must meet all 4 tests. It is staff's opinion the proposed application to permit a reduced frontage meets the 4 tests for a minor variance, as the application conforms to the general intent and purpose of the official plan, because it is consistent with the agricultural policies, recognizing property and financial restraints. The variance ensures no agricultural lands are removed from the retained farm operation. The application conforms to the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw, as a proposed lot frontage reduction does not reduce the viability of the proposed subject lot, as a proposed frontage will continue to accommodate a driveway and access to the residential lot. The application is appropriate because it allows the existing permitted uses to continue with access onto Middleton North Walsingham Road, Town Line Road. And finally, the application is minor because the driveway and access was previously existing, and the reduced frontage will not limit the access to the subject lands nor the retained agricultural lands. Staff support this application and recommend it be approved.
Thank you. Does the committee have any questions for planning staff? Okay, no questions. Is there any member of the public that wishes to speak regarding this application? You can unmute now. Okay. The staff report recommends approval, and could I have someone move that recommendation?
Adam?
Thank you, Adam.
You bet.
And a seconder?
Rudy?
Thank you, Rudy. Okay, all in favor? Adam?
Yes.
Alan?
Yep.
Marcel?
Yes.
And Rudy?
Yes.
Okay, that application has been approved. Okay, the next application is for severance. The file number is BNPL 2020-164. The applicants are Jason McAlone, Michael McAlone, and Dorothy McAlone. And I'll ask staff to give their report.
Through the chair, an application has been received to sever a dwelling made surplus through farm amalgamation. The proposed will have a frontage of 35.58 meters and a lot area of approximately 2,250 square meters. The retained lands will have frontage of 485 meters and a lot area of 98.6 hectares. Both the retained and the severed lots are located on the south side of Wyndham Road in the township of Wyndham. The subject lands contain an existing dwelling. The retained farmlands contain a barn, bunkhouse, and 2 greenhouses. The surrounding lands are primarily agricultural in use. With respect to the application, comments have been consolidated and received. They've been distributed to members of the public as well as the committee and the applicant. No comments of concerns were received, though some conditions have been received and included in our conditions list. The subject application and staff's opinion, planning staff's opinion, is consistent with the related policies of the Provincial Policy Statement 2020 and in the Norfolk County's official plan regarding surplus farm severance. Therefore, planning staff support this application and recommend it be approved subject to the attached conditions. Thank you.
Does the committee have any questions for staff? Okay, no questions. Is there any member of the public that wishes to speak regarding this application? Please unmute now. Okay, no public comments. I have before me a recommendation from staff that the application be approved subject to attached conditions. Could I have someone move that recommendation?
Alan moves it.
Okay, I've got Alan. Seconder?
Marcel.
Thank you, Marcel. Okay, all in favor? Adam?
Yes.
Alan?
Yep.
Marcel?
Yes.
And Rudy?
Yes.
Okay, that application is approved. Next application is BNPL 2020-165, and the applicant is Miquelon Ginseng Inc. And it's for severance. I'll ask staff to give the report.
Through the chair, an application has been received to sever a dwelling made surplus through farm amalgamation. The proposed lot will have a frontage of 52.63 meters and a lot area of 3,051 square meters. The retained lands will have a frontage of approximately 338 meters and a lot area of approximately 99 acres. Both lands, subject and retained, are located on the south side of Wyndham Road 7 in the township of Wyndham. The subject lands contain an existing residential dwelling. The retained farmlands contain an existing barn and a bunkhouse. This is labeled garage on the map, but has been confirmed through a site visit it is a bunkhouse. The surrounding land uses are primarily agricultural in use. Comments have been consolidated in the staff report. The applicant, members of the committee, and members of the public are aware. No comments of concerns were received, though conditions have been put forward. The subject application in staff's opinion is consistent with the related policies of the PPS 2020 and the Norfolk County official plan regarding surplus farm dwelling severances. Therefore, as planning staff support this application and recommend it be approved subject to the attached conditions.
Okay, does the committee have any questions for planning staff? No questions. Is there any member of the public that wishes to speak regarding this application? You may unmute now. Okay. I have a recommendation from staff that this application be approved subject to attached conditions. Could I have someone move that?
Rudy moves approval.
Thank you, Rudy. And a seconder.
Sure, Alan.
Adam?
Okay, I got Alan. All in favor? Adam?
Yes.
Alan?
Yep.
Marcel?
Yes.
And Rudy?
Yes.
Okay, that application's approved. Okay, the next application is file number BNPL 2020-166. The applicant is 919704 Ontario Inc., and it's for severance. And staff, please give the report.
Thank you. Through the chair, this is another surplus farm severance application for a dwelling made surplus through what I just said. The proposed lot has a frontage of 53.3 meters and a lot area of approximately 2,029 square meters. The retained lands will have a frontage of 245 meters and approximate lot area of around 99.5 acres. Both the retained and the subject lands front onto Wyndham Road 7 in the township of Wyndham. The subject lands contain an existing residential dwelling. The retained lands contain an existing barn and bunkhouse. The surrounding lands are primarily agriculture in use. From reviewing the application, comments have been circulated in the staff report, which the applicant and member of the committees have access to. No comments of concerns were received. With regard to the reason for approval, the subject application is consistent with related policies of the PPS and the Norfolk County Official Plan regarding surplus farm dwelling severances. Therefore, planning staff support this application and recommend it be approved, subject to the attached conditions.
Thank you. Okay, does the committee have any questions for planning staff? Okay, no questions. Is there any member of the public that wishes to speak regarding this application? You may unmute now. Okay. I have a recommendation before me that the application be approved, subject to attached conditions. Could I have someone move that recommendation?
Marcel moves approval.
Okay, I've got Marcel. And a seconder?
Adam?
Thank you, Adam. Okay, all in favor? I got Adam,
Yes.
Alan,
Yep.
Marcel,
Yes.
and Rudy.
Yes.
Okay, that application is approved. Next application is file number BNPL 2020-151. It's for severance, and the application is Bradley Motashed. And I will ask staff give a report.
Thank you, through the chair. This application is one component of a larger proposal, including BNPL 2020-152 and ANPL 2020-153, which are forthcoming, to sever the subject lands into 3 separate lots: a single-family dwelling lot facing Queen Street South with the existing structure, and 2 proposed semi-detached dwellings with frontage onto Short Street in Simcoe. The intent of the proposal, as described in the justification report provided by the agent, is to provide additional residential dwellings that could be offered at a more attainable cost in the area through the use of prefabricated modular homes from shipping containers. Due to the nature of the development type, the agent identified limitations in regard to adjusting size and dimensions of the proposal. In order to allow this development, this application is accompanied by a proposed further severance of the severed parcel proposed in this application, which was BNPL 2020-152, and a minor variance application, ANPL 2020-153, to recognize deficiencies created through the proposed second severance, as well as the proposed prefabricated dwelling units. The subject lands are 0.14 acres, or about 1,160 square meters in area, and have a depth of approximately 45.7 meters and a frontage of approximately 25.4 meters onto the east side of Queen Street South in the town of Simcoe. The proposed severance would create a new lot with approximately 25.4 meters of frontage, an area of 486.3 square meters, and a depth of approximately 19.54 meters. The subject lands contain an existing dwelling, a garage, a chicken coop, while the severed lands are currently vacant. The lands are in this Simcoe urban area and are surrounded mainly by residential uses, except for an existing industrial use, which is a print shop at the corner of Short Street and Stanley, so just over on the next block. Planning staff consider the subject application to be consistent with the policies of the PPS and conform to the official plan. Staff support this application and recommend that it be approved, subject to the attached conditions.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions for staff? Okay, no questions. Is there any member of the public that wishes to speak regarding this application? You may-
Yes, good afternoon, Madam Chair. My name is Mike Sullivan. I'm the agent for the applicant and here to answer any questions the committee has.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions for the agent? Okay, no questions. Okay, have a recommendation that the application be approved, subject to the attached conditions. Could I have someone move that recommendation?
Alan moves that.
Okay, I've got Alan, a seconder.
Rudy.
Okay, all in favor? Adam,
Yes.
Alan,
Yep.
Marcel,
Yes.
and Rudy.
Yes.
Okay, that application is approved. Next application is file number BNPL 2020-152. It's for severance, and the applicant is Bradley Motteshed. And I'll ask staff to give the report.
So this is directly attached to the one previous. The subject lands are subject to application BNPL 2020-151, which we just went over, creating a newly severed lot with approximately 25.4 meters of frontage on Short Street, an area of 486 square meters, and a depth of approximately 19.54 meters. The proposed severance in this application would create two nearly equal lots with approximately 248 square meters of area, a depth of 19.5 meters, and a width of approximately 12.7 meters. The subject lands are currently vacant, and the lands are in the urban area of Simcoe and are surrounded mainly by residentials, just as before. Planning staff consider the subject application to be consistent with the policies of the PPS and conform to the official plan with the accompanying forthcoming minor variance, as well with the zoning bylaws. So staff support this application and recommend that it be approved, subject to the attached conditions.
Thank you. Does the committee have any questions for staff? Okay, no questions. And is there any member of the public that wishes to speak regarding this application?
Yes, hi, Madam Chair. Mike Sullivan here again. I'm here to answer any questions the committee may have.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for the agent? No questions? Okay, we have a recommendation for approval, subject to attached conditions. Could I have somebody move that recommendation?
Alan moves that again.
Okay, I've got Alan, a seconder.
Marcel.
Marcel, thank you. Okay, all in favor? Adam,
Yes.
Alan,
Yep.
Marcel,
Yes.
and Rudy.
Yes.
Okay, that application is approved. Next application is file number ANPL 2020-153. Applicant is Bradley Motteshed. This is for a minor variance, and I will ask staff to give the report.
Through the chair once again. So the subject lands are subject to the consent applications we just received, proposing to create two nearly equal lots, again with 240 square meters of area, a depth of 19.5 meters, and a width of approximately 12.7 meters from vacant land fronting on Short Street, as a result of a severance from an existing developed parcel containing a single-family dwelling fronting onto 171 Queen Street South. The subject lands are currently vacant. It's obviously still in Simcoe. The subject and associated applications, the ones we just two previous, were deemed complete on August 10th, 2020. Subsequently, the agent and the applicant submitted an updated survey on September 19th, 2020. Upon review, staff identified some discrepancies between the new survey addendum and the original application. Through electronic and telephone correspondence between the agent and staff, both parties worked to clarify the intended application and associated variances. And so the new survey was circulated to the appropriate agencies along with rectification of a clerical error in the proposal summary for review. Figure 1. Can you just go to the next slide? Sorry, I don't think it's labeled figure 1. It's not there. Okay, in the report, on the second page, there's a little diagram with an addendum, figure 1, for my committee members. That's what I'm referring to. My apologies. It's an additional visual provided by the agent to staff regarding the request for variance relating to section 3.10 of the zoning bylaw. It was the opinion of staff that the adjustments identified in the survey, which was attached to the report, were minor in relation to the lot creation and therefore did not require recirculation. It's just this figure kind of further identifies what they were requesting, which wasn't in the initial application. So since the time of circulation, there was also one additional request to amend the proposed minor variance request. So instead of 3 meters from the minimum rear yard setback of 7.5 meters to permit a decreased rear yard setback of 4.5 meters, the agent applicant would like to request 3.2 meters from the minimum rear yard setback of 7.5 to permit a decreased rear yard setback of 4.3 meters, if amenable to the committee. So the proposed deficiencies would then include 3.2 meters from the minimum rear yard setback of 7.5 to permit a decreased rear yard setback of 4.3 meters, a minimum front yard setback of 6 meters to permit a decreased rear yard setback of 2.8 meters, 10 meters from the minimum lot area of 255 square meters to permit a decreased area of 245 square meters, and an increase of 0.4 meters from the maximum projection of steps, which is the figure 1, into the new required front yard of 2.8 meters to permit a projection, finally, of 1.9 meters. 1.5 meters maximum is typically permitted. So the proposed application to permit the previously stated deficiencies meets the 4 tests in the opinion of staff for a minor variance in the following ways. The application conforms to the general intent and purpose of the official plan because it's consistent with the urban residential policies, recognizing property constraints. The application conforms with the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw as the proposed deficiencies created by the development and associated severances supports the permitted uses of semi-detached dwellings. The application is appropriate because it supports development similar in scale to existing and provides additional opportunities for affordable or attainable housing in the community. And the application is minor because of the resulting development's limited impact on the neighborhood. Further, the requested deficiencies supports a use and a development and density which fits within the urban landscape in that area. So staff support the application and recommend that it be approved.
Thank you. Okay, does the committee have any questions for staff? No questions? Okay, and I just want to clarify, so it's the setback, the rear yard setback is 4.3?
Yes, through the chair. So it would be requesting a variance of 3.2 meters to allow that 4.3 rather than 4.5.
Okay.
So slightly smaller.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, and is there any member of the public that wishes to speak regarding this application?
Yes, Madam Chair, Mike Sullivan again.
Thank you.
And just wanted to commend staff on good handling of this application. We appreciate the communication.
Thank you. Okay, I have a recommendation that this application be approved. Could I have somebody move that recommendation?
Alan moves.
Adam?
Okay, I've got Alan. Seconder?
Adam?
Adam, thank you. Okay, all in favor? Adam?
Yes.
Alan?
Yep.
Marcel?
Yes.
And Rudy?
Yes.
Okay, that application is approved. Thank you. Okay, the next application is file number BNPL 2020-155. Applicant is Terry Kaziki, and it's for a severance. And I will ask staff to give a report.
Thank you. And through the chair, proposal has been received to sever a parcel having 15 meters of frontage and a lot area of 578.6 square meters, and a retained parcel of having an area of 831 square meters as a creation of a lot within Waterford. The lands contain currently an existing dwelling and garage. The surrounding lands are residential in nature, with the majority of lands dedicated to low density detached dwellings. So the application will essentially create an infill opportunity for using lands that are existing and oversized for creation of an existing residential lot within the urban area of Waterford. Both the severed and the retained lands will have frontage onto Wellington Street. And as I mentioned, the retained lands will keep the existing residential dwelling and accessory structure, and a single detached dwelling is proposed for the newly created severed lot. The application and planning's opinion is consistent with the 2020 PPS, conforms to the consent policies of Norfolk County's official plan, and complies with our zoning bylaw. We've reviewed comments received from agencies, and would note that two of the conditions in the staff report have been added when they are just comments, not conditions. So those are conditions 3 and 5. So it would be staff's request to addendum that condition to remove 3 and 5, condition 3 and condition 5 from the final approval. Otherwise, staff support this application and recommend it be approved subject to the following conditions, as I said, with the removal of 3 and 5. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, does the committee have any questions for planning staff? Okay, no questions. Is there any member of the public that wishes to speak regarding this application? You may unmute now. Okay, and I'm going to say there's a recommendation from staff to approve this application subject to the attached conditions. Could I have someone move that recommendation?
Rudy moves approval.
Okay, I've got Rudy and a seconder.
Adam?
Adam, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, all in favor? Adam?
Yes.
Alan?
Yeah.
Marcel?
Yes.
And Rudy?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. The application is approved. Next application is file number BNPL 2020-161. Applicant is Thomas O'Neill and Christine Camerori O'Neill. This is for severance, and I will ask staff to give the report.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair. An application has been received to sever a parcel of land as a boundary adjustment. Lands to be added to existing parcel located immediately adjacent to the north at 727 Villanova Road. The subject lands are 8.19 hectares in area, irregular in shape, and have a frontage of approximately 220 meters onto the west side of Villanova Road in the geographic township of Townsend. The benefiting lands are 0.19 hectares in size and front onto the west side of Villanova Road. The proposed severed parcel is 248 square meters in area with 5.37 meters of frontage onto Villanova Road and depth of approximately 46 meters. The subject lands contain an old barn structure, while the benefiting lands contain a single detached dwelling and an existing accessory building. The lands are in a hamlet area and are surrounded by farms as well as residential parcels. The applicants are requesting a boundary adjustment for the purposes of transferring the ownership of a driveway which has been used by the owners of the benefiting lands since 1983 from the subject lands to the benefiting lands. This approval and completion of this boundary adjustment would also permit the subject lands owner to apply for absolute title for the subject lands. Planning staff considers the subject application to be consistent with the policies of the PPS 2020 and conform to the official plan. Staff supports this application and recommend that it be approved subject to the attached conditions.
Thank you. Does the committee have any questions for planning staff? No questions. Is there any member of the public that wishes to speak regarding this application? Okay, no questions. Okay, we have a recommendation for approval subject to the attached conditions. Could I have somebody move that recommendation?
Marcel moves approval.
Thank you, Marcel. Seconder?
Alan seconds.
Okay, Alan, all in favor? Adam?
Yes.
Alan?
Yep.
Marcel?
Yes.
And Rudy?
Yes.
Okay, that application has been approved. Okay, the next application is file number ANPL 2020-167. This is for a minor variance. The applicant is Nathan Damison, and I will ask staff to give the report.
The subject lands are 0.18 acres or 729 square meters in area and have a depth of approximately 59.7 meters and a frontage of approximately 12.2 meters on the east side of Cedar Drive and Turkey Point. The subject lands contain an existing dwelling and an existing garage, which is to be removed. The lands are in the resort area of Turkey Point and are surrounded by resort residential uses. The subject application is requesting relief from the following policies. Policy 5.8.2C to permit a decrease in front yard setbacks from 6 meters with a 5.26 meter existing to 2.67 meters, an increase then of 0.259 meters from existing. Policy 3.2.1A to permit an increase in accessory structure building height from 7 meters to 7.3 meters, but from correspondence with the applicant, which I'm sure he'll speak to as well, the intended was meant to be 7.6, which wasn't indicated on the original application. So if the committee is amenable to that change, I can include that. I don't know if you want to speak to that now or want me to do the rest of it.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Finish. Yeah.
The third is policy 3.2G, and to permit an increase of maximum usable floor area from accessory uses to residential on the subject lands from 100 square meters to permit 131 square meters, so an additional 31 square meters total. The subject lands are currently being used as a permanent single-family dwelling as permitted by provision 14.14 in the Norfolk County zoning bylaw. The proposed minor variance would permit the applicant to build an accessory structure to house both a vehicle and a boat in the off-season. The proposed structure would front onto Cedar Street. The proposed application to permit the previously stated deficiencies meets the 4 tests for a minor variance, and it's opinion of staff that wouldn't change with that minor request for the following reasons. The application conforms to the general intent and purpose of the official plan because it's consistent with the resort residential policies recognizing property constraints. The application conforms to the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw as increased floor area height and decreased front yard setback created by the development of an accessory building supports the existing and permitted uses of a single-family dwelling. and the application is appropriate because it supports the existing use of a single-family dwelling and provides an enclosed structure for the storage of vehicles and boats, which previously did not exist on the site. It also is in line with the existing structures within the area, so it's not unusual. The application is minor because the relative size is small for the deficiencies requested, and further, the proposed increase in floor area height and decrease in front yard setback supports an associated use and structure, which again is very typical in that area of Turkey Point. Staff support the application and recommend that it be approved, obviously with that slight change being in your court.
Okay. Committee members have any questions for staff?
Can you just run by those figures of the adjustment again, please?
Absolutely. So the first is, I'll leave out the policy numbers for now, but so to permit a front yard setback, the required, my goodness, is 6 meters, although 5.26 is what is existing currently, and they're requesting 2.67 meters, so a decrease in the front yard setback of 2.59 meters. An increase in structure, accessory structure building height from 7 to 7.6 as per correspondence. So obviously 0.6 meters of increased height, and an increase of maximum usable floor area for accessory uses to residential on the subject lands from 100 square meters, which is the currently required, to 131 square meters, so an additional 31 square meters of usable floor space than what is permitted currently.
Okay, and the front yard setback would be
2.67, and it's from an existing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And their existing is 5.26 due to non-conforming.
Okay, so they're asking for 2.67, so that
Yep.
wouldn't change from the report. Okay. Okay. Any other questions from committee members? Okay, is there any member of the public that wishes to speak regarding this application? You can unmute now.
Hi, Madam Chair. It's Nathan Jameson, the applicant, and I just for clarification, just wanted to confirm that the requested relief on the height is 7.6, not the 7.3 in the staff report. Just to clarify that, the initial application, it was 7.3, but we had to make an adjustment to the application through the process to meet the required parking setback from side yards, and so that reduced the building footprint slightly, and that just caused the height to increase by a foot. So just wanted to clarify that. And the deficiency report that was issued by staff did identify the deficiency of 0.6 meters. So I think it was just a matter of not all the updates made, because this one specifically didn't make it through to the staff report. So I just wanted to make the committee aware of that. Thank you.
Thank you. And does the committee have any questions for the applicant? Okay. Okay, we have a recommendation from staff that the application be approved. Could I have somebody move that recommendation?
Alan moves that.
Okay, I've got Alan, a seconder.
Adam.
Thank you, Adam.
Yep.
Okay, and all in favor? Adam,
Yes.
Alan,
Yep.
Marcel,
Yes.
and Rudy?
Yes.
Okay, the application has been approved. Next application is file number ANPL 2020-168, and the applicant is Abe Geisbrecht, and it's for a minor variance, and I will ask staff to give a report.
Thank you. Through the chair, an application has been received to permit the construction of a 40 by 32 accessory building requiring relief from section 11.1.1 of Norfolk County zoning bylaw to permit construction within the hazard lands. The property is located on the north side of Lakeshore Road. Subject lands contain an existing dwelling, carport, and shed. These structures are legal non-complying or have legal non-complying status. The structure proposed has no habitable space. It will only be used for the storage of personal items. The variance will result in the total usable floor area for all accessory structures on the property of approximately 197 square meters. The aforementioned usable floor area calculation is not regulated by their hazard land zone, but is relevant for planning justification to ensure that they're not asking for too much usable floor area for an appropriate area. The entire property is zoned and designated hazard lands and is within the regulatory area of Long Point. Comments have been circulated for this application, and no comments of concern were received. But it should be noted that this is lands regulated by the Long Point Regional Conservation Authority, and as such, staff report relied heavily on their commenting. Within our application, or within our report, I've highlighted that it's the LPRCA's opinion that the proposed development, so the shed, meets the technical guidelines for development within the hazardous lands and is consistent with section 3.1 of the provincial policy statement. As a result, when staff did our justification, we referenced this quite a bit. So when we're reviewing our conclusion, is based off this and also multiple other aspects. So I can outline, as this is a minor variance, is subject to section 45.1 of the Planning Act. And so the proposed application to permit an increase in usable floor area for accessory uses meets the 4 tests of a minor variance. As such, the application is staff's opinion, the application conforms to the general intent and purpose of the official plan because the development as supported by LPRCA meets the technical guidelines for development within hazardous areas. The application conforms to the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw as a new accessory structure will support the existing uses on the property and meets the technical guidelines for development within the hazardous lands. The application is appropriate because it promotes the continued residential use on the property, ensures the protection of the natural environment, and through proper placement and design, no adverse impacts will result from the development. And finally, the application is minor because of the sum of the 3 accessory structures will not have an adverse impact on the surrounding area, whose total usable floor area for accessory structures is less than the surrounding agricultural zone, which is the predominant use in the area, and whose approval will not further reduce the compliance of the property. As such, staff support this application and recommend it be approved.
Thank you. Does the committee have any questions for staff? Okay, no questions. Is there any member of the public that wishes to speak regarding this application? You may unmute now. Okay. We have a recommendation from staff that this application be approved. Could I have someone move that recommendation?
Rudy moves approval.
Thank you, Rudy. And a seconder?
Adam.
Thank you, Adam.
Yep.
Okay, all in favor? Adam?
Yes.
Alan?
Yep.
Marcel?
Yes.
And Rudy?
Yes.
Okay, that application has been approved. The next application is file number ANPL 2020-169. The applicant is Robert Beering and Allison Fries, and it is for a minor variance, and I will ask staff to give the report.
Thank you. Through the chair, an application has been received to recognize existing deficiencies to replace a wooden deck requiring relief of 4% for the maximum permitted lot coverage of 15 to permitted coverage of 19, and relief of 8.19 meters from minimum front yard setback, which is required of 6, to a setback of negative 2.19. The negative 2.19 is actually an encroachment, so it'll be encroaching that 2.19 into the municipal road allowance. It should be noted that in 2020, the applicant did receive an encroachment agreement, approved encroachment agreement to have that into the municipal road allowance. The subject lands are being used as a vacation home where the subject deck is existing, legal, non-complying. The proposed minor variance would recognize these deficiencies in order to bring the property as a whole and into conformity with the zoning bylaw. The application has been circulated and comments have been received. No comments of concern have been noted. Under section 45.1 of the Planning Act, there are 4 tests to a minor variance which must be met. In order to consider the application, they must meet these tests. The proposed application to permit an increase of usable floor area for accessory structure, as well as the encroachment, conforms to the general intent and purpose of, the proposed application to permit the encroachment, as well as the coverage, is meets the 4 tests of a minor variance because the application conforms to the general intent and purpose of the official plan, because it is consistent with the resort residential policies recognizing property constraints and appropriate redevelopment through repairs. The application conforms to the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw, as the lot coverage and front yard encroachment supports the existing and permitted uses of a vacation home. The application is appropriate because it supports the existing uses of the vacation home, and through the application brings the existing deficiencies into conformity. And the application is minor because the repairs of the deck will not extend what is currently existing and has existed since the construction of the vacation home. To date, based on planning staff's review, there has been no land use conflicts created as a result of the deck, and its continued use will not negatively impact the surrounding area. As a result, planning staff support this recommendation, or this application, and recommend it be approved.
Thank you. Does the committee have any questions for planning staff? Okay. Is there any member of the public that wishes to speak regarding this application? Okay. We have a recommendation that the application be approved. Could I have somebody move that recommendation?
Adam?
Thank you, Adam. And
Ye-
a seconder?
Alan?
Alan, thank you. Okay, all in favor? Adam?
Yes.
Alan?
Yep.
Marcel?
Yes.
And Rudy?
Yes.
Okay, that application has been approved. Okay, and we do have, under other business, an application that was brought back from previous month, file number BNPL 2020-146, the applicant Skylar Farms Limited, and that was for a severance, and I will let staff speak with regards to why that application is being brought back.
Through you, Madam Chair. Yeah, so there's just a clerical error in the list of conditions. The development engineering comments and conditions were reflected in the report, but not listed on the conditions list, which was just simply a clerical error, but the intent hopefully remains the same. And so just to rectify that error.
Okay, so we are okay. So for the committee members, we are just reapproving the application subject to the attached conditions as amended. And could I have somebody move that recommendation?
Alan?
Okay, I've got Alan and a seconder.
Rudy?
Thank you, Rudy. Okay, all in favor? Adam?
Yes.
Alan?
Yep.
Marcel?
Yes.
And Rudy?
Yes.
Okay, that application has been approved. And Is there any other business from the committee members? Okay, no other business. Then I have a resolution here that the meeting be adjourned until the next regular session to be held Wednesday, November 18th, 2020. Could I have somebody move that?
Adam,
Okay. Adam, and a seconder,
Alan?
Alan. Okay, and all in favor? Adam,
yes.
Alan,
Aye.
Marcel,
Yes.
and Rudy.
Yes.
Okay, this meeting is adjourned at 5:55 PM. Thank you.
Thank you.